Welcome back. This is Luke Smith, RealVacantLand.com. I've got some more land for you. This one I'm calling commercial land. I got some tools in the background. I think this would be a good spot to put a tire change place or auto repair shop. I was also thinking maybe a tractor sales, equipment rental yard, Harbor Freight tool would be a good one that goes on this property. Maybe a gym, but I think a brewery could work pretty well too. But I think this would be a good place to do like repair, down to earth, draw your clients in kind of place that they're going to come get stuff fixed and sell them parts and service. So let's take a look at this property and see if this is the right one for you. I've got this on RealVacantLand.com. We're asking $349,000 for this. This is 2.41 acres. This isn't the kind of place where you're going to build a house. I present a lot of properties where you're going to build a house. This is where you're going to build a business. Next door to this, let's pull up some maps here. We've got, I think it's Ace Hardware, the Marshalls, Safeway. We've got Starbucks here. Just a little off the screen up there is Walmart. We've got like a title shop in the back. You know, those are the kinds of neighbors we've got in the area. They're not houses. They're not apartment buildings. They're not places to live. They're places to do business. This is a pretty main street here. A lot of traffic going to this shopping center next door. I think this would be a good place. It's not like facing the front street, but it's right around the corner, so you could draw off a lot of these people if you were repairing cars, if you were selling parts, if you were putting things together. I was thinking maybe a tractor supply store, but then I found one up the street. But those kinds of places I think would be good here. Let's look at some of the other diagrams of this property. I looked at a lot of properties. We'll bring up some markets and I'll compare to the markets and stuff too. Okay, so you can see all these pictures and diagrams by going to RealVacantLand.com. It'll bring you back to this website. You can play with these maps. This is an interactive map that I've got in the background of this property. So it's pretty close on the property lines. You know, it goes from the street over. This isn't super exacto, but you get the idea of where the property is off of this map. Looks like there's a stream across the street. We could go street view on this thing, but I wanted to zoom out a little bit first. So here's Susanville is the name of the town. This is northeastern California. This is the intersections of traffic and people in northeastern California. So if you're in northeastern California and you need to rent like a bulldozer or a backhoe or a special saw or something like that, you're going to go to town here. And I found there's one equipment rental shop north of town, and maybe it's time that they get some competition. You put an equipment rental shop in on this property. Bet you can rent out all kinds of tools. If you're a tool guy and you love buying tools, why not collect them and rent them out? You know, my tools are sitting around all the time. It's like, I wish I could rent those things out. I love the tool rental kind of business. If you had the right staff in the shop every day running that, I think that'd be a beautiful thing to put on a piece of property like this. So here's Susanville here in the middle of the screen. This is a 395. I mean, if you go way down 395, I used to have properties in the south end of 395, Southern California. But yeah, so go up into the mountains there. There's Lake Almanor, some properties over there in the past. I've had properties all around this area. So Redding is on the other side. If you guys watching my videos, you might have bought properties from me over there. But this is Susanville, and so that's the area. And I'm not comparing it to housing properties like I've sold in this area in the past. This is commercial. This is where you run a business. So Luke, how do you value those? Let's jump into a website that I like to use. This is Crexi. It kind of came off the screen at the top, but this is Crexi, C-R-E-X-I, Crexi.com. And I subscribe to their data set, and you can see comps and you can see all kinds of stuff. So this is what's for sale. Another website you could do this on would be LoopNet. I mean, there's multiple websites. You can go see what kind of commercial properties are for sale. My point is they're not Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, where you go look for residential houses. It's a different set of properties. So the first thing that comes up here is that the hardware store that's like right next door. I think that's... No, it's this hardware store is in a different town. There was one that's next to the property. Susanville's over here hardware stores over here. This is a True Value hardware store, and the one that's by us is an Ace. So $245,000 for hardware store, 5,000 square foot. I'm like, that's pretty neat. That's pretty cheap, right? And then you click on it and you start reading the story. You don't get the building. Like this will come up here and it'll say you get the inventory and the sign and the name and blah blah blah, but you don't get the building. You don't get the actual building. They're just selling the business. So 200 and they're asking like $250,000. You don't get the real estate. So here's some land in the middle of nowhere, some more middle of nowhere stuff for real cheap. This one's in Susanville. This is the one main comp that I could find that's in town of what's up for sale right now. This is 0.9 acres. Ours is 2.41 acres. These guys are asking $450,000 here. I think the flyer says $500,000. They're in town. They're next to the Tractor Supply store that I was telling you about. There's AutoZone. But if there's AutoZone, you should probably have Pep Boys. You should probably have a Napa. You should probably have O'Reilly's. Like you could go target each one of those companies and say, hey, AutoZone's making it here. Why don't we compete with them across the street, down the road, whatever. And you put some of those on our properties. Those might be the ones to go on this property. These guys, they're asking $500,000. In the listing, it says $450,000. So they're saying they're surrounded by major retailers: AM/PM, Tractor Supply, AutoZone, Panda Express, Dollar Tree, Ross. So APN says pending final approval. So they just split that property off. This is they're still doing the splits. It's not totally split off when they made this flyer. So that's the property over there. That's the competition. They're asking $500,000 for less than an acre. Mine, I'm asking $349,000 for 2.41 acres. So like almost 2.5 times their size and less price. Yeah, that's $3 million just dreaming away. Okay, I'm not going to pull that up as a comp. Let's look at comps. And so this is, because I'm subscribed to this website, I can pull up like historical sales. So this is Lassen County. I've got it narrowed down to Lassen County, and it's kind of cut off at the top of the screen. I should fix that. But you get the idea. So here's the, I'm going to do this by date. Make sure this is sorted by date because I want the newest ones. I mean, this will go back 30, 40 years or something of transactions. And I want commercial. So I'm going to do land and commercial. So I just want commercial land because we're talking about commercial land. We're not talking about residential or agricultural or an island or all these other things that are on there. So we just want commercial land. And now we've got the acreage. So this is the acreage. This is the whole county. This is what's traded in the county of Lassen County, the same county that I've got our property in. This is historical trades. This is not ours. This is historical trades. So the last trade in the county was 5 acres. So that's like twice our size and $3.7 million. That's, I don't think that's going to be a comp, but that would be nice. So the next one's 1.34 acres, and that's $50,000. That's in this other town over here. And then, $500,000 for 40, 70,000 for 40. It's like way up in the middle of nowhere over there with no traffic, hard to do business. 1.5 million, 1.5, 300,000 for these are little tiny ones. Look at this, third of an acre for 300. So like, there's a building on there, 3,600 square foot. Half an acre. There's nothing for years here that has traded like our size, anything like our price. It's all out in the middle of nowhere, or a lot more money, or a lot smaller for the same price, except for this one. So let's take a look at this one. 1.34 acres. This is like half our size-ish. And $50,000. Okay, it's just some trees in the middle of nowhere. You're not getting any traffic and selling stuff from that property. So hence the price. So anything with traffic is what I'm trying to say. Anything with traffic and people around, I mean, it's $300,000 and up. So I'm asking 349 for this one, and these are historical sales going back like 10 years or something. So before COVID, before, low interest rates and all that stuff, $349,000 what I'm asking for this property. And there's a bunch of traffic. You could build a business here. I think it's a lot more fun to work with these commercial properties because you can change things that impact the bottom line of the financials of these properties in a much bigger way. The beta between you buying, fixing, and selling is a lot bigger than doing it with residential. You buying a house, adding paint and, polishing the house and then renting it out or selling it at a higher price is great. You can make money off of that. But the difference of what you buy it for and what you sell it for is, I think, can be much greater in commercial. You can buy it, you can build a property, you could rent it out, you could turn it into a cash flow that can go for years and years and years. You can do long-term leases that you can then go back to the market and sell the whole property based off the economics of those leases. And the financials behind that is what I'm talking about. The difference between starting and finishing, like buying a piece of land, adding an idea, adding a business, adding a revenue stream to it. Either it's a equipment rental yard where you don't even really have to build something. Like you just start buying tools and renting them out. Maybe you build a fence around the property, right? Like you could start with something simple, basic, easy like that. And all of a sudden you're renting these tools out on a regular basis, which most of the tools you could probably buy with financing too. So you don't even have to capitalize them so much. And you bring in these tools, you rent them out, and you get a revenue stream off of that. You can turn around and sell that business to equipment rental companies. There's a bunch of them are national chains, big name equipment rental companies. They keep buying up all the equipment rental companies around here that like to rent cheap tools from, and they raise the price like threefold, and they rent the same stuff, and they rent it out anyway. Those guys buy businesses from you, and they pay top dollar. They're looking at the financials and different ways they can increase the business. But the difference from you buying a piece of vacant land, adding that business and selling it to them, even if they turn around and up the prices like 5 times on your clients and make a bunch more than you did off of it, you still make a killing between setting up that business and selling it to them. And that's the beta. That's the juice that's worth the squeeze, if you will, by going and playing with these commercial properties. So it doesn't have to be this property or one that I have or whatever, but just think about that idea in commercial properties, and maybe I'll plant a seed in some of the people that are watching here that comes around over time. And that's what I'm hoping for. But if it's this property and you want to go to this area, please go to the website. There's a link below in the description, and it takes you back to the website, and you can look at the maps, you can look at the descriptions. We've got some traffic counts and things of the area. This is where the traffic goes. The main street of the county, of the region, of the area goes like just right there. I mean, there's a Starbucks there, there's a Taco Bell, there's a McDonald's, and there's a whole bunch of other big names right there, really close to this property. And I think you can draw traffic from those major intersections to go here and buy your products, buy your goods, buy your services, and create that revenue stream I'm talking about you could make on this property to sell it to one of those big boys and keep the difference. So thank you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Talk to you in the next one.